to the Hop Havdallah service and cipher. We are live on YouTube. We are live on Facebook. We were live on our Twitch. Make sure to follow us at Rappers and Rabbis. Check us out at www.rappersandrabbis.com. I got a very, very special guest with us tonight. One of the most special guests that I could present right now. We have one of the co-founders of Rappers and Rabbis, founder of Bible Raps, Matt Barr. How you doing tonight, my guy?
I'm doing well. Just got done having Havdallah with the family and put the second born down, came down here, and now I'm having Havdallah with you. And it's always nice to have a Havdallah after a really good week,
Yeah.
And it kind of allows, I needed a good week. I had a couple bad weeks, and so this is a good week, and it was easy. Like at Havdallah, we always go around and say, all right, what was great about the last week? Just a moment of gratitude. And this one was like, extra special and felt really easy to point to of just, I won't get into specifics, but, it was nice to Havdallah. It's like a moment of reflection for me.
Yes.
And so being able to, so I'm feeling good, I guess, because I'm coming out of Havdallah where I just reflect. I'm like, oh, it was a good week, and it's like, it had been a couple bummer weeks for, and so,
yeah.
And it's like, all right, put that in the scoreboard, and that felt good. Create that momentum.
Yeah, we've all been through so much in the past year and a half that I feel like we can almost get through anything if, especially as a fellowship, if we all stick together, we can make it through anything. And I definitely I've talked to other people who have also said that they've had a great week. It seems like a lot of people I know had a good week and a restful Shabbat. And now we're going to break back into the week with Havdallah. And I guess before we go any further, let's play a little video so people can learn a little bit more about who we are as rappers and rabbis. But with that said, this video kind of centers on the fact that we were innovating in the virtual space during the pandemic. And coming out of that, we're going to kind of venture back into real life, into real events. And we are all ready and fired up to debut our album coming soon, the first official Rappers and Rabbis album. So, I'm just really excited for what the future holds for us and for everybody we associate with. So with all that said, here's a video so you can learn a little bit more about who we are.
From Jersey down to Philly, though it sounds sort of silly. Rapper, rabbi, those guys really? Like everything due to COVID, we had to innovate on our innovative plans. Community building without buildings. We launched a series of virtual programs igniting a community that's gaining momentum every week. This is a innovation appreciation type of creation. 2020 to plenty of concentration. Focus, we need a hocus pocus. COVID got communities feeling hopeless. COVID hit the nation, we had to innovate on an innovation. How we stay focused on community building when we can't gather people into a building. All I wanna do is zoom in a Zoom room to build the nation up. All I wanna do is zoom in a Zoom room, and we are grateful, yeah. Our Beat Midrash averages over 50 people each session. Our Facebook has grown 1,100%, and we've gotten some notable press, including in hiphopsince1987.com. This is a innovation appreciation type of creation. 2020 to plenty of concentration. Focus, we need a hocus pocus. COVID got communities feeling hopeless. Thank you to everyone. Special thanks to Yafa and her team. And we hope to see you at some of our online events. Every Thursday, we start at 8 o'clock and go till about 10:30. From Jersey down to Philly, though it sounds sort of silly. Rapper, rabbi, those guys really?
Yeah, I mean, speaking of going through things, I went through a whole hurricane this week down here in Florida, and it kind of led me to think about our video for New Land and about the narrative of the flood. So later in this program, we're going to play that video, and we're going to talk a little bit about climate change. And also, we had a very special guest last night for our Hip Hop Shabbat. We had Internal Rhyme, who's in Philadelphia right now, and he was live with us. We were talking about his new single, Elevator Pitch. So what I'm going to do a little bit later, I'm going to do the Rappers and Rabbis world premiere of his new song Elevator Pitch, and we're going to talk about Jewish business ethics and entrepreneurship and two of our new programs, our Monday Night Musar and also our Fellowship 2.0. So just a little preview for everybody tuning in. That's what we're going to get into a little later. But let's dive right into the Havdalah service. The Havdalah is defined as separation. It's a Jewish religious ceremony that marks the symbolic end of Shabbat and ushers in the new week, and hopefully a blessed week. This ritual involves lighting a special Havdalah candle with several intertwined wicks, a blessing of a cup of wine. Cheers. I'm drinking lemonade because it's the summer and it's hot. So instead of wine, I have lemonade, but you get the idea. Because it doesn't have to be wine. You can bless any sort of thing that enters your body. A lot of people pray over their food and over their drink, and not just Havdalah, but also at Havdalah, we do a smelling of sweet spices to kind of wake us up and remind us that we're about to kickstart back into a new week. So I'm so proud right now to play this video featuring you and produced by members of Rappers and Rabbis. I'm going to play a Havdalah remix of Debbie Friedman's classic. So let's just get right into it. L'chaim.
L'chaim.
Hashem, what is Hashem? Smaller than any blossom, bigger than any big bang. It's awesome before Shabbat's done. Sip the drops from, where's the wine glass? Here I got one. Tip it off at the tippy top. Hold it aloft. Praise to God for Shabbat. What is Hashem? Are we all one or perhaps some? How to know which problem is really worth solving? And are we all in? Are we half-stepping? Let's get past questions, settle nerves, spiced herbs and nice words. We're just lawn and we're a band, just observe. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei minei besamim borei minei besamim. Hashem, what is Hashem? Smaller than any blossom, bigger than any big bang. It's awesome before Shabbat's done. Put your fingers in the light until the light revolves them. A moment of solemn. Now it's time to get the job done.
My kids love saying that part. Now it's time to get the job done.
And you know what's funny is I catch myself sometimes singing along to these songs as well while they're playing, and I forget that my microphone is on. Last night I was singing along with one of the songs, and I was way out of key, and somebody texted me
Yeah,
like, "Is that you singing?" I'm like,
that's
"Yo, I
funny.
love this music so much. I love what we're doing, and the people have to know that we do have an album coming very, very soon to all platforms. Rappers and Rabbis debut album on the way. Um, I think we
Hey,
all,
Grace, have we decided on the name?
you know what? I think we're gonna have to go with something, something, and something. Yeah, But I think what we
Okay.
should do is we should maybe go live sometime in the next week or two and make an official announcement. I think that'd be
Okay.
something fun to do to try and
Yeah.
get everyone that was involved with the making of the album all live
Right.
together for a
Right.
special announcement that we can record and then,
Yeah.
post on
Show it
all our
off.
social
Yeah.
media. But just
Right.
know, maybe we'll give a giveaway. We'll give a free Rappers and Rabbis T-shirt to whoever can find the secret social media site that we've set up to promote the album, because we do have a separate Instagram and Twitter set up to promote the album. So if
Right.
anyone is tuned in, if anyone can find our brand new social media name, if you will, our at name, then send me a DM, send me a text, and I guarantee you'll get a free T-shirt in the mail. Um, all sizes available. And then also we're close to setting up an official web store so people can kind of grab some merchandise and support the efforts. What we do, I believe, is important is merging the beautiful worlds of Judaism and hip hop together. But we're also very much interested in charity. We call it tzedakah, giving back and community building, which is really our big thing is community building. And we do have a blessed community, and I do believe that in a rough time in this last year and a half, we've been blessed to have each other and to be able to take these virtual platforms to build the community. So before we go any further, let's pray together. We're going to go through with the Shema, which is a Jewish confession of faith, and it's really one of the most integral parts of any service. And I like to do it in the beginning of services. I like to kick it off with the Shema so people understand how important this prayer really is. It's recited as Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Hear, O Israel, the Lord is our God, the Lord is one. The Shema defines one force that takes expression in the multitude of our realities and really taps not only all Jews into their Judaism, but even people that are religious of other faiths can actually understand how important this prayer is. I actually had a rapper I work with who was tuned into services last night, and he made a specific comment on our Facebook with a timestamp and said how amazing he thought the service was at this certain mark. So I clicked on the timestamp, and it was actually the very beginning of the Shema. And
Nice.
he's completely of a different faith and a
Right.
different background of us, but just
Right.
was so amazed by the Rappers and Rabbis remix of the
Right.
Shema prayer. So without any further ado, we're just going to get into it. The Shema remix featuring you, our special guest Matt Barr, and also Tex Rich Ali, who's just an amazing artist and producer and co-founding member of Rappers and Rabbis. So big shout out to Tex Rich Ali. And here we go. Here's the Shema remix.
One time for your mind, one time for your mind. One guy from the squad, one guy from the squad, one guy from the squad. One time for your mind, one time for your mind. One guy from the squad, one guy from the squad, one guy from the squad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Adonai Echad.
Breathing what is Holy Spirit like? 1 foot, 1 love, and 1 mic. 1 race, 1 God, and 1 light. 2 hands, 1 left and 1 right. The many and the all involved in one fight. When division's the plight, it's solved when we unite. Cause one ain't free if all ain't free. And you are not you if I am not me. Contemplate, elevate with the Elohim. Rappers and rabbis, one hell of a team. Building with the Musar, expressing a few bars. Traveling so far to the sound of the shofar.
One of a kind hanging from the one vine. Wild grapes in the shade sometime become fine wine with a little sunshine. It's an hour past noon, can I get a one time? One time for your mind, one time for your mind. One guy from the squad, one guy from the squad, one guy from the squad. One time for your mind, one time for your mind. One guy from a squad, one guy from a squad, one guy from a squad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Adonai Echad. Not trying to be a prophet, but he who parted the sea is a part of me. When I look in my heart, I see the same history and mystery. I'm G-D'd up, I'ma read up with my feet up. Sabbath is just practice so we all get freed up. Please plant your seeds up, Israel's the bride and the groom's inside. One of a kind hanging from the one vine. Wild grapes in the shade sometime become fine wine with a little sunshine. It's an hour past noon, can I get a one time? One time for your mind, one time for your mind. One guy from a squad, one guy from a squad, one guy from a squad. One time for your mind, one time for your mind. One guy from a squad, one guy from a squad, one guy from a squad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Adonai Echad.
Yeah, so before we go any further, I definitely want to give a couple shout outs. First of all, thanks to the Jewish Federation of Greater Metro West New Jersey. What we do wouldn't be possible without their innovation grant that we've received, second year in a row, technically, that we've been running. Even though it feels like a year because of COVID, we have been kind of doing this for a couple years and honing our craft. And that song is definitely something special right there. Also, a special shout out to member of our fellowship, Mr. E, who will be hosting an event in Freehold, New Jersey, a Revolution on July 31st. So if you want to kind of hear that song performed live, make sure to come out on July 31st. It's a really positive event that centers around community building. Whether you're an artist, entertainer, poet, magician, a vendor of any kind, it's an open event. Yeah, it's an open event for people to come and be part of a growing community in the North Jersey area. Also, really special shout out. We got a couple people tuned in tonight from my new synagogue down here in Tampa, Florida. Shout out to Rodef Shalom for supporting the movement of what we're doing. I really believe that this is something special. And coming soon, we're going to be doing these Monday meetings where we talk about Jewish ethics called Monday Musar. So we're going to get into that in a little bit. So let's just kind of keep it pushing. This was a special request last night. Internal Rhyme was a special guest last night. And I usually only play this song and this remix in our Havdallah services. But last night, Internal Rhyme was like, man, this song is so special. It's not only one of my favorite rappers and rabbi songs, but he said that as a rapper that it was one of his favorite songs in general that he's ever done. So since we're going to showcase some of his new music tonight, it's only prudent that we play "O Say Shalom" right now. It's a prayer that's usually sung or chanted. One of the most famous versions is by Debbie Friedman, who recorded it at Carnegie Hall live. It is a prayer for peace and wholeness. And I think that something that's so important is not just world peace, as everybody talks about, but peace within yourself. Self-peace and preservation is so important in a changing world that we're in right now. The words of the prayer we're going to put up on the screen as the song is played. O say shalom bimrumav, hu yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. It's translated roughly to may he who makes peace in high places make peace for us all. And let us say together, amen. It's such a special tune. Again, we took the liberty of remixing it into the hip hop world, which is what we're all about. There's so many parallels between hip hop and Judaism, but one of the biggest common denominators of Judaism and hip hop is the practice of peace. So many rap songs end with peace. Peace out. Peace, y'all. And Oseh Shalom is a prayer for peace. So we're going to get into it right now. The Rappers and Rabbis remix of Oseh Shalom.
Oseh Shalom Aleinu, V'al Kol Yisrael, V'imru Amen. Y'all say shalom, 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 y'all say shalom.
Y'all say shalom, I play Capone, actually I'm Maya. Who passing me the lighter? We bout to take you higher. You waiting on Messiah, they hit you with the hezzy. Get on your Hezekiah, till heaven is your climbing. The devil wants attention, I dead him off with silence. Though violence is cathartic, remember your assignment. Recorded on papyrus, they cannot ignore it, not even in the slightest. Talking about a blockchain, these tokens came from Titus. Before there was a pilot, we was flying on Osiris. Try us.
Sharp swords to pruning force, then pruning force to tuning chords. A higher type of harmony when we know we ain't harming we. Sharp swords to pruning force, then pruning force to tuning chords. A higher type of harmony when we know we ain't harming we. Say shalom bimrama, Booyah, say shalom aleinu, V'al Kol Yisrael, V'imru Amen. Oh, say shalom bimrama, Booyah, say shalom aleinu, V'al Kol Yisrael, V'imru Amen. Y'all say shalom, 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 y'all say shalom. One day we'll please out go fishing with Trump and Hillary Clinton. Eye to eye, fist to fist, no fist cuffs, only fist bumps. We need to talk it out. Alphabet text, introduce yourself. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, hi, H, I.
One day we could just listen to what the artist has written. Smidgens the hardest renditions of where the pain lies. One day we'll embrace differences, cause that type of division feels like an ending, but really it's just a gray sky. And it hardly ever rains on the west side, but I'm rocking with the gang out of Best Eye. Trying to unify, strive to the next high. Gotta get by with a head high and set the example. I know the fight that's a hand is a handful. Let's settle down, get around. With my brother MC and we don't mean no Rambo. Hip hop is a sample of the feeling a piece of projects from the core. Let us dismantle the systems that keep us attached to the floor. Ain't back in the war. I throw two fingers up to the shemesh. Stick to my moral ground, that's how I stay sound without no regrets. I got the best love and I'm spreading it far as it gets. And I tell you to bless up, cause reality hard as a desk. So when I'm starting to fret, gotta let anxiety get away. Cause I know larger the stress, the larger the bet, there's gotta be better days. Oh say
Shalom bimrama, Booyah, say shalom aleinu, V'al Kol Yisrael, V'imru Amen. Oh, say shalom bimrama, Booyah, say shalom aleinu, V'al Kol Yisrael, V'imru Amen. Y'all say shalom, 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 y'all say shalom.
I had to mute my microphone in case I started singing along, because that's really a jam. Shout out to Papa Left and Eternal Rhyme, who are the featured rappers on that track. They both, wow. And I just caught, for the first time really, since we were talking about the parallels of peace between hip hop and Judaism, the line where he says, actually, I'm Maya. And I believe he means Maya Angelou, who
Nope.
was really, no, not Maya Angelou. So who's
Kind
he
of the
talking about?
opposite. Kind of the opposite.
Oh, Meyer Lansky.
Exactly.
Oh, because he says Capone on Meyer. Oh, like Meyer Lansky.
Right.
Well, it's interesting how hip hop can be interpreted, because I heard that and I'm like Maya Angelou, but it's
Right.
amazing. In cultures, hip hop has always kind of revered the gangster culture.
Right.
And Meyer Lansky is definitely one of the most notorious gangsters of all time, and happened to
Right.
be an extremely proud Jew. And that kind of is an interesting dichotomy to get into our actual topic for tonight, which is entrepreneurship and ethics as it relates to business. The code of the streets, right? The code of being a gangster has been extremely glorified in media, but being a proper gentleman, being a businessman, being a family man, owning up to your beliefs, that's gangster. It's something about really owning up to ethical decisions in your life that's gangster. And you know, it's been said many, many times again that, practicing proper business and ethics is important, even if it's a street code, is something important about, actually living up to your promise, whether it be to God and your religion, or whether it be to your family, being loyal to your family or your friends and your brothers. And, like I said, last night we had special guest Internal Rhyme, who was featured on that song, and he has a new song out called Elevator Pitch. And the whole song is like rap metaphors about business. And if you're not
Nice.
familiar with if you're not familiar with the term elevator pitch and you're tuned in, basically they say you should always have a sales pitch, a speech that's about 30 seconds or less. So, say you're a rapper and you're in an elevator with Jay-Z, you have 30 seconds to pitch him your music. What are you going to say? Let's say you're an inventor and you're in an elevator with Elon Musk. What are you going to say in those 30 seconds to make them want to
Right.
do business with you? So, before we play that song, I want to talk a little bit about entrepreneurship and Judaism. It's really changed. And in the last 10 years, especially, Jewish nonprofit groups have begun to use social entrepreneurial toolkit to address challenges that appear intractable. Like, how do you effectively engage the majority of Jews in our country and around the world? Clearly, what we do is engage using hip hop and talking about rap music and hip hop culture as it relates to Judaism and business. But Jewish business ethics is a form of applied Jewish ethics that examines ethical issues that arise in a business environment. It is noted that in the Torah, there are over 100 mitzvot concerning the kashrut, which means fitness of one's money.
Wow.
Many more, in fact, that are concerning the kashrut of food. Thus,
Right.
the subject receives an extensive treatment in rabbinic literature, both from an ethical musar and a legal halakha point of view. So it's very interesting to note that actually in the Torah, it really just talks about how to be ethical, how to be gangster with your money and with your practices in your daily life. The general gravity with which business ethics are treated in Judaism thought is illustrated by the widely quoted Talmudic tradition that is in one's judgment in the next world. The first question that people generally ask you is, were you honest in your business?
Mm.
In addition to this, and numerous other Talmudic passages, the Musar and Hasidic literature also discusses business ethics at great length. And, people kind of poke fun at the Jews for being prominent in American business, but our experience in business goes all the way back to the Torah. So picture thousands and thousands, of years of Jews around the world practicing proper business ethics that led to people kind of making fun of us this day. It's amazing that most Jewish people have only been in America since the pogroms and have really started family business, but it's these thousands of years of study and practice that made us so prominent in this world.
And also
Well, just
creates.
real quick,
Oh,
yeah,
go
but
ahead.
real quick, institutions including Harvard University, Brooklyn College, and the Rohr Jewish Learning Institute all teach courses strictly on Jewish business ethics, not just for students but professionals. I mean, our way of doing business is now not being made fun of anymore; it's being taught.
Mm.
It's kind of amazing.
Uh-huh. I see it. That's the difference in the past couple 10, 15 years. It's been
Hmm.
elevated and
Yep.
yeah, the value. That's
And
rich.
celebrate it. It's just so
Yeah,
amazing,
right.
really
I
incredible.
just wanted to add
Yeah,
when you're
please.
talking about, one of the reasons why also Jews are so prominent in business is all of kind of that rich you know, coming from our own culture and
Yeah.
since the Torah, but also in, you know, in Europe for 1,500 years or 1,000 years when we were there, we weren't allowed to own land. And so we had to become good at money, because money is like the only other source of value to like keep life sustaining, besides land, especially back then when land was kind of like the real resource, but money. So we had to become good at money, you know. And so that's what we you know, a lot of our survival strength went into for 1,000 years is how to make money something that can, you know, support a community.
Yeah.
You know?
So off the top of your head, what's one Jewish business or name or brand that comes to mind?
That's a good question, because of course,
I'll start first. How about this? I'll
well,
start
can
first.
I just say I'm embarrassed by the first one that does. That's what I
Well,
because
what is it?
Zuckerberg,
Okay.
you know, but I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the ethics is. Not that I'm judging, but I'm just saying, like,
You know what's funny
he's
is
in a whole
I
new
don't know
world of
much.
ethics, a
I
brave
don't
new
think
world of ethics.
yeah, I don't think any of us know much about Zuckerberg's life
Right,
pre the movie, pre Facebook, pre college, right?
right,
But I assume his upbringing, if he was brought up in a proper Jewish home, I'm sure he was taught these intrinsic values,
yeah, yeah,
and it is an interesting character in Jewish history to discuss.
sure, yeah, will be, yeah.
For
Go
me,
ahead, go ahead.
for me, the first name, there's two, but the first one that always comes to my mind is Levi's and the textile
That's what I
business.
was gonna say. Yeah,
Yeah, and
but I wasn't sure if he was Jewish. You know,
yeah,
but
if you study New York and Brooklyn's history, you see that it's a very rich industry of textiles that came from, like you said, Jews having nothing, and you literally had to. I mean, it's they say rags to riches, but that might be where the expression came from.
right,
They
right, right,
literally took pieces of cloth and
right.
sewing techniques and built
Yeah,
it into empires. It's
yeah,
amazing.
yeah. Maybe
Um, the
it is kind of rags to riches. The
it,
etymology was just discovered right here.
it's amazing. The other one that comes to my mind, because I've been in the entertainment business for over 20 years, the Varner brothers, the Warners, and
Right,
shout out to Warner Chappell Publishing, and shout out to Warner. I've been
right.
lucky over the years. Shout out to Atlantic Records.
That's a good one.
Over the years, I've been lucky to do business with the Warner Music Group and with Atlantic Records. And
Mhm.
out of all my business doings in the entertainment industry with Universal, with Warner, with Independence, I got to tell you, the Warner Atlantic system has always treated me contract wise, business wise, the best because I
Uh-huh.
believe that that company holds a higher ethical consideration for their employees and for their artists.
Mm.
What are some of the other names that come to mind for you?
Um, let's see. Um, I don't know businesses very well. I know just scientists and thinkers.
Mm.
Um, let's see. Yeah, I couldn't even name like 10 businesses at any, you know, off, you know, Jew or non-Jew, just off the top. But
Well,
you know,
I'll name a couple. Let me go through a little bit of a list I have here because I did prepare. And I do believe if you're tuned in tonight and you're interested in business, you should research all these companies. Um,
uh,
Baskin Robbins, Ben and
word.
Ben and Jerry's,
Oh, wow.
Dunkin' Donuts,
Dang.
Estee Lauder, Facebook, Google, Haagen-Dazs,
Google.
Hasbro, H&R Block, Lane Bryant, Goldman Sachs, Oracle, Dell, Starbucks, Calvin Klein, Slim Fast, Dell, and DreamWorks. I mean, the list goes on and
DreamWorks.
on. The
Wow.
list goes on and on and on. But what would you picture America without almost any of those companies right there? It's kind of amazing, right?
Right. Right. The whole landscape of like the road and our
Yeah,
culture is just kind of like
yeah.
super eroded if you take those away.
Yeah, it's amazing. So, one thing about business is, you have to always consider, obviously supply and demand, but what that breaks down more intrinsically is the needs and wants. Everybody wants to have things, but you really can make a business better off of what people really need. So really, in talking about some of these tech companies, like you brought up Zuckerberg and Facebook,
Mhm.
we are in a technological world now. Since I was a kid until now, we've really seen a revolution, um,
Yeah.
a technical virtual revolution. Kind of, I think when they write the history books of this era, it will
Right.
be on par with the Industrial Revolution,
Right.
coming up with these companies, Google, Dell, Oracle, Facebook. I mean, these companies will be remembered just as we remember the invention of the sawmill or the
Mhm.
iron mill. And, if you go back and research those companies in the late 1800s and early 1900s, as you look at some of the companies now, I think the biggest thing that it took for the general public to attach to them is simply just understanding what these companies do and what they are. So, if anyone's tuned in tonight and wants to learn more about business, please hit up Matt Barr or follow us on our social media at Rappers and Rabbis, as we will soon be beginning a program about a month from now called Monday Musar, where we will be weekly discussing ethics. Do you maybe want to talk a little bit more about this program?
Yeah, it's gonna be involved probably a group of 10 to 15 that'll be there each week. And well, I'll say 5 to 15. And we have basically Musar. What I like about it is you concentrate on one virtue at a time. So
Mm,
they identify different virtues like patience. We could all, some more than others, be better at patience, or compassion or discipline. So instead of like trying to, become great overnight, you take one of these and let's say patience, and then over 2 weeks, we'll meet over the course of the 2 Mondays. We'll go into what hip hop has said about patience, what Judaism has said about patience, what the wisdom that's out there about patience, and then we'll talk about it. And then the next following Monday, we'll all come back. We'll have the week to write raps about it,
mm,
and then we'll play some beats. We'll talk about some more, and then everybody can actually through Restream play some beats, and we'll try to put together just some bars about the virtue of the week or of the 2 weeks,
yeah.
and in this case, patience. And then when we get it done, we'll mix it, and then you'll listen to it for the next 6 days, and like we'll just ask you to listen to it, in the morning once, and just let's all just try to a little bit. We're gonna focus on this virtue, so we're gonna just start our day by listening to the rap we wrote about patience, and it'll keep that in the tip of our mind, and hopefully we'll be able to lean into that for the next week, and then we'll switch to a different virtue. And
Yeah.
that's kind of the process. So it has to do with kind of studying together and creating raps together. And there'll be some excellent talent on there, but we also
Yeah.
would love people who just enjoy rap, would find it fun to learn and rap with us.
Yeah,
So
and for all these artists that'll join in, I think it's important to learn these ethics as it relates to entrepreneurship. Every artist is in fact a brand, is a company, and how better to learn how to make a proper elevator pitch than to join in on our Musar class starting in about a month. So without further ado, shout out to Internal Rhyme, who was our special guest last night. We're gonna play right now the world premiere of his new song, Elevator Pitch, which mentions a lot about ethics and business. So let's tune in and learn a thing or two.
dig it.
Treaties.
Yeah. Shout out my guy Trey. Hey. Philly to LA to AZ. Right. Hey.
Rockin' 97 Nautica, feeling nautical. My lack of swag gas featured in another article. I ain't nothing but a massive man, just damn near particles. Took a decade long work master plans and made them audible. Scared to drop too many gems, but shit I made to keep it G. Built the floorboards, fuck you think it gay, go keep from me. I'm living good, player. See that when you take a peep at me. Plus I'm rolling up some shit that feel like maple in a tree. I don't bang, no keep no peace, I just stay faithful to the streets. That's how a little Jewish angel boy got labeled to a beast. Yeah, the soulless social worker ain't no fable in a lease. Man, I'm trying to see some criminals get stably released. Flood the streets with new needles, syringes, and condom wrappers. Ain't part of no elite, I just finessed and got a master's. Educate the hood 1,000 ways, proud to say we breaking cycles that allow replay like the Toronto Raptors. Let me flex for 30 seconds, this my elevator pitch. I ain't got no truth to sell, so I just tell the way it is. Every time they hear me spit, I hear a LMAO bitch. So my shoulder kept that chip in, that's a hella way to live. Yeah, that's a hella way to wait, this my elevator pitch. I ain't got no truth to sell, so I just tell the way it is. Every time they hear me spit, I hear a LMAO bitch. So my shoulder kept that chip in, that's a hella way to live. Now what you feeling, dude? I had my cars in this order when I was still in school. So please forgive if my aura come off a little rude. Big bullets could chew through a gorilla glue. Biggest the ego, I killed a few. I'm trying to kick it with Dilla crew. That kind of real few. That shit that feel the fuel. From flaming minuscule. They only care about your drama inside your interviews. This is the intro, I'm bombing, wait till the end of night. I slept on the slow way, climbed up off all fours. You're like sweet as sorbet, what you want it for? I deserve it all and more. Ay, it's been time to go. I was high 5 years ago. I remember Domino. I risked this shit to life's course, hit it, bet it all. And flip the naysayers that ain't wanna get involved. You got a signing bonus, but your pay ain't said it all. Cause ballin' with a string attached is playing tether ball. Let me flex for 30 seconds, this my elevator pitch. I ain't got no truth to sell, so I just tell the way it is. Every time they hear me spit, I hear a LMAO bitch. So my shoulder kept that chip in, that's a hella way to live. Yeah, that's a hella way to wait, this my elevator pitch. I ain't got no truth to sell, so I just tell the way it is. Every time they hit me spit, I hear a LMAO bitch. So my shoulder kept that chip in, that's a hella way to live.
I love the line where he says a Jewish angel that turned into a beast. And in talking about business, you really have to be a shark. I mean, there's a show called Shark Tank, you know, and I don't think any of those people on Shark Tank got to where they were without being a beast in business and practicing proper ethics. There's so many interesting lines in that song, especially in that first verse, as he really talks about, you know, if he had his 30 seconds, you know, how would he get into it? And he's been trying for 10 years to get to be like an overnight success. And I don't think people understand in business and in, you know, music and entertainment that sometimes it does take 10 years to become what people call an overnight success. You know, people only see the success, they don't see the rocky road that was traveled to get there. But, you know, as a fellowship in rappers and rabbis, I think we all help each other to inspire to get to the next level of what we're going through. And kind of what we've all went through this past week is kind of crazy. You know, I'd be remiss if we didn't talk about any current events, and it just kind of seems this week that there was a lot going on in the environment. We saw not only did we see hurricanes, but we saw oceans on fire. Literally, oil spills in the ocean, lighting on fire. There's fires,
Yeah.
all fires all over California, volcanoes going off in more towards Italy and Europe. It's a lot going on in the environment, and that kind of reminds me of our video for New Land, where we talk about Noah's Ark and the biblical flood narrative. Noah's Ark was a vessel in the Genesis flood narrative through which God spares Noah, his family, and examples of all the world's animals from a world engulfing flood. The story in Genesis is repeated with variations not only in the Quran, but also in almost every ancient world religion. There's a flood narrative. And,
Right.
we made a song and a video kind of relaying the message of Noah's Ark as us, as humans, coming out of quarantine from COVID-19. And what's just so unbelievable is literally during quarantine, we saw positive changes in the world and uh, and the environment and the ozone layer. And we kind of took that as a message to write this song, where in the video, a lot of us got dressed up as animals from Noah's Ark. You can see one of the masks right here being featured on the screen. And this song that we call New Land is something that I believe is very special. And it goes to show you how we take current events and narratives, relate them not only to the Torah and to Judaism, but also to hip hop in creating these songs. So I'm so proud right now to play this video from Rappers and Rabbis for New Land.
Hip hop that makes you move.
Shalom, y'all. Thanks for tuning in to the Beat Midrash featuring Rabbi Avi Strasberg.
You might think that Noah would be dying to get off the ark, right? They've been in quarantine how many months now? 6 months, 8 months, 10 months.
If you're going to find new land, bring a pocket full of sand, for you're quite sure to miss shore. And when you think about it all, our lives are very small. Still I hope I never die.
I hope I never die, but I live on through my artistry. Through all of the debauchery, hypocrisy, and poverty, I pour out for my sons as my eyes get watery enough to flood the earth. I just tell them build the ark for me, carpentry. These cubits not from arteries, but I built them from the heart. You see, if ever you get lost at sea, just send a dove out for an olive tree and pray that we are all in peace. R.I.P. to quarantine.
If you're going to find new land, bring a pocket full of sand, for you're quite sure to miss shore.
There's a flood coming, it's best we stay afloat. Unite every animal, have them elope in the age of extinction with the last of the Mohicans. Grab your partner, say we will survive, let it sink in. On a voyage, far from a cruise, put my life on the line with everyone's to lose. It is what it was, time to search for new land as we approach a new normal and devise a new plan.
When you think about it all, our lives are very small. Still I hope I never die. I want to live forever, my every breath is treasured. Gold bars that glow in the dark, I flow hard as Noah's Ark. What I mean is even Phoenix feels free at last when he's ash. Nevermore and nothing lasts. And the raven at your door also raps, colder than his black shoulder blade, and he's also strapped. Click, clack, flat, flat. If you're going to find new land, bring a pocket full of sand, for you're quite sure to miss shore. And when you think about it all, our lives are very small. Still I hope I never die.
He sends the raven out, she doesn't come back. He sends the dove out. The dove comes into him at eventide, and lo, in her mouth, an olive leaf freshly plucked. So Noah knew that the waters were abated from the earth. The fact that the dove was able to find a plant. What do you imagine that feeling is as they're thinking about, as they're about to leave the ark?
And I think we're all feeling that feeling right now, a return to normal and a little bit less anxiety in society. And it's really a beautiful thing to see people coming together again. You know what's so funny? I had like almost like a revelation, right? There are certain people that I've been encountering in my life over the past 8 months as I've moved down to Florida. Some of these people that I've been encountering, like just people at the gym, people at the supermarket, you know, people in the neighborhood, I'm now just starting to see these people's faces for the first time.
Right.
And it's just such a blessing to see people smile, you know, to see love and happiness being spread around again. It's really, you know, it's that same feeling that I think they probably had on the ark when they found the olive tree. I think we're all going through that, and I think as a society, if we could all make it through what we just made it through, we're going to be good, and we can tackle these environmental issues, these society issues. We can tackle these now together, I hope, with a clearer headspace and a lighter heart, you know. And I think it's almost time to wrap up the service right now. So, you know, I always say that for people who aren't familiar with Jewish services, there's usually a closing song, an ending song. And the ending song is kind of meant to get you out of your seat, dancing around, high fiving, shaking hands, hugging, saying hello to your neighbors, and spreading that peace and joy that can come from a proper prayer service. So, what we usually do, since we're rappers and rabbis, we open up the cipher. We have members of the community rap over the beat that I play, and talk, and in their raps kind of talk about some of the things from the service. So I don't want to put you too much on the spot, but you are an MC, so hopefully you do have a couple bars, and I'll give you a minute to prepare a couple bars as I talk about tonight's
Okay.
closing song, which is going to be Adon Olam. Adon Olam is roughly translated to Eternal Lord or Sovereign of the Universe. It is a hymn in the Jewish liturgy, and it has been a regular part of daily and Shabbat liturgical services since the 15th century. I mean, we're talking about hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years that people have been singing and dancing to the song. But I'm going to talk a little bit about the song because it really is similar to hip hop in its origin, right? So this song and its authorship are actually somewhat uncertain. It is sometimes attributed to Solomon Gabriel, who is known for his Hebrew poetry, but there's no solid evidence for this. In his notes to the Siddur Lev Chadesh, John Rayner suggests that it was written in the 13th or 14th century in Spain, noting its absence from the prayer book. It has also been attributed to Hai Gaon and even to the Talmudic sage Yohanan ben Zakkai. Although its diction indicates antiquity, it did not become a part of the morning liturgical services until the 15th century, but since then it has been featured in almost all the services. Um, Adon Olam is one of the most familiar hymns in the whole range of Jewish prayers and songs, and is it almost always sung at the end of Shabbat services. In the Roman Machzor, it is placed at the end of the Sabbath service and sung together with Yigal. According to Seligman Baer, the hymn seems to have been intended to be recited as well before going to sleep, as it closes with the words, "Into his hand I commit my spirit when I fall asleep, and I shall awake." There is a tradition of reciting it each night at bedtime and also on one's deathbed. It may be, however, that the beauty and grandeur of this hymn is recommended its use in the liturgy, as that it was chanted indiscriminately at the beginning or the close of service. And I've actually been at services where they've recited Adon Olam twice, in the beginning and the end, which is very similar to hip hop albums that have an intro and an outro that are very similar in its composition. Adon Olam is often sung to a special tune on the morning of Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, and at the beginning of these services, in addition to the casual, usual place at the end of the services at their conclusion. Because of these solemn associations, and on account of its opening and closing sentiments, the hymn has also been selected for reading in the chamber of the dying. And in some congregations, it is recited, albeit subdued and tuneless, in the synagogue as a means of reporting a death in the community. It is likewise recited or chanted at the commencement of the daily early morning prayer, that its utterance may help to attune the mind of the worshiper to reverential awe. When it is sung at the end of the service, the congregation usually sings along with each other and demonstrates that they're not eager to leave the house of prayer, but are willing to continue and stay praying. And that's kind of like the culture of listening to music that you love. What you typically do is put a song or an album that you love on repeat, and it kind of continues and plays throughout your day. And this prayer is just as important to Jews as it is to the favorite song of a hip hop fan. And I really want to thank everybody before I play this song for joining in on our service tonight. I think it's really important that we talk about these things, about Judaism, about hip hop and its culture, but also about ethics and business and entrepreneurship. And I think you've had enough time. I heard the pen drop.
Oh,
So
bro.
what I'm gonna do now is play a reproduced beat of Adon Olam that I did for this service. And
Okay.
whenever you feel the spirit move you, feel
All right.
free to jump in and rap with us. So here we go. Adon Alam. Oh, hold on. Technical difficulties. Give me one more second. All right, here we go.
Y'all, listen with me. So big give you technical difficulties. Gratitude, attitude. Rappers and rabbis, that's the crew. I thought you knew what we do every night. Bring it back to Moosar. My name is Matt Barr. Trying to get in a car and drive it real far. Probably the worst freestylist on the team. That's alright. I still have a dream like mine. And Mountain. And me. And Crazy. And go ahead. I've been like Tony Yates. Kick it in the goal. England in the club. So they say. Okay. Pass it back to Crazy. Oh, back to the hook. Hold up. Gratitude, attitude. Rappers and rabbis, that's the crew. Gratitude, attitude. Rappers and rabbis, that's the crew. Gratitude, attitude. Rappers and rabbis, that's the crew.
I like that. Gratitude, attitude. That's almost like the name of an album right there.
Yeah, I hear that. Yeah, I hear that. That's true.
And you
That's
know, in
like,
business, I think you have to practice gratitude. You got to be thankful. If you're in any business, it doesn't matter if you made a penny or $1 million that day. You should be just as thankful for your earnings. And I think that's what took the Jews so far in business is just that gratitude, that measure of being thankful to God for the receiving of our blessings.
word up.
All
Well,
right.
thank you,
So,
Trades. This
yeah.
was amazing as usual, and every time it's new and different. Like it's really not a repeat, and it's just amazing. Like new, just like rivers of thought, bro. That I really appreciate what you like. Like this business ethics this today, this evening, and it was really interesting and so I appreciate you putting the time in to really come with thoughtful presentations.
Yeah, and for anyone that's tuned in or wants to share, all our services are live all the time on YouTube and on our Twitch. So if you go to our YouTube channel, you can watch any of the previous services. One of our most recent services, I talked about Ellis Island, and I talked about immigration and how important America was to the aiding of the Jewish diaspora. And a lot of people said they learned so much from that lesson. So if you get a chance, go back and check out our July 4th Hip Hop Havdallah Spectacular. And we're going to continue talking about new topics each and every week. I don't know if you have any last words or shout outs, but before that, I do want to let everyone know that you and the crew will be performing live on July 31st in North Jersey at Revolution, hosted by Rappers and Rabbis' own U.S. Ambassador of Hip Hop to Poland, Mr. E. He's such a great individual in our fellowship and so inspirational as a figure in the tri-state hip hop scene. So please, please, please follow us at Rappers and Rabbis and come see us perform live on July 31st. Matt Barr, thank you so much for being a thought leader and a spiritual leader in this community. And if you have any last words or shout outs, this is your time.
No, I'm looking forward to getting Musar Mondays, Monday Musars, Millennial Monday Musars going.
I like that.
With M3.
Woo,
and that'll be part of the fellowship. So hopefully, if you're interested in hip hop and Judaism, you should be interested in both of them. Please go to our website and sign up for the fellowship. There's applications and hopefully it'll be a good fit.
Yeah, and there is incentive to join the fellowship. So if you want to learn more about what you will get in your return for your time spent with the Rappers and Rabbis Fellowship. Please log on to our website, rappersandраbbis.com. We have a smart link set up, smarturl.it/PHLNW8. And I think it's just so important, even if you're not Jewish or not into hip hop, it's important to learn about these tenets of civilization. So I'm going to end this service with a prayer. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. May God bless you and keep you. May God cause the divine light to shine upon you and be gracious to you. May God turn to you and grant you peace. And let's all together say,
Amen.
Amen. Happy Havdallah. We wish everybody a blessed week of gratitude and positive attitude in life and business. And shout out to the Tampa Bay Lightning for winning the Stanley Cup second year in a row. You can catch me at the boat parade on Monday. We're going up. And peace and love to everybody. And thank you for joining in. If you joined in this week, please share. These links will be live in perpetuity, which means forever. So go onto our YouTube, go onto Facebook and share with a friend. Each one teach one. And that's how it begins. And thank you so much. And I hope you all learned a little something or enjoyed your time with us tonight, celebrating Havdalah with Rappers and Rabbis. Matt, again, thank you so much for joining in
You're
tonight.
great.
And we're right back at him. Holler at us. Check us out on Instagram. We got a lot of music coming soon, album coming soon. So signing out for Rappers and Rabbis. I go by Digital Crates. Thank you so much for joining, everybody. L'chaim.